When we're thinking of health and nutrition, one of the things that we tend to really focus on a lot, which is very important, is the quality, the quantity of what we're eating. One of the fundamentals that can be really important is exploring our nutrition mindset blocks. These are beliefs and thoughts and things that we may have been told as children or young adults that we have held on to unknowingly often, and we carry these thoughts and beliefs into adulthood where they often no longer serve us as well. Things, for example, that I often hear in my practice is when we have discussions around meal times and satiety cues and sensations of fullness versus overeating, one of the things that often comes up is many of my clients actually tend to overeat unknowingly because they are simply finishing everything in their plate, whether they're hungry or not. When we start to look into this, we realize that these beliefs and attitudes are no longer serving us very well. Why is this? Because surely it can't be that bad if I'm eating everything that's in my plate. Well, there are two major factors that come into play when we do this very frequently or almost daily. What we're actually doing is we are overriding our body's satiety cues that give us these sensations of satiety and fullness. So essentially, we're just looking at that plate and we're thinking, I need to finish what's on this without questioning, am I actually full and satisfied with this meal? So this often notion of I have to finish everything in my plate will lead to overeating. And then obviously sensations of digestive issues pop up. We feel bloated, we feel uncomfortable, but this has become our new norm. So the other thing that happens when we do this is that we are actually overriding our body's protective mechanism that normally would tell us, you've had enough to eat, stop. So not only with time do we tend to slowly gain weight and just feel uncomfortable and bloated after meals, which, let's face it, I don't know many people that like that. And secondly, we just end up not actually knowing when we've had enough to eat. So often just taking a few moments and thinking about this, looking into it, and understanding that we can actually let go of these beliefs. We don't have to do that anymore. We can decide, if I can't finish everything that's on my plate, why not put it aside into a Tupperware and I'll keep it for lunch the next day? Or if there's enough, then maybe I can make another meal out of it in an evening, and that means less cooking in the week. So there are advantages when we start to let go of these beliefs and embrace new ones and realize that we don't have to hold on to everything we've been told as children and young adults. The other one that I come up against often is also the notion that our meals have to be specific things. So for example, dinner always needs to be cooked. It always needs to be quite a subsequent meal, when in fact your meals can be exactly what you want them to be and what they need to be to reflect your lifestyle. If you're busy with young children, maybe a good smoothie in the evening when they come back from practice is the better thing to give them, because who wants to start cooking a meal when you've just taken your children to a sports practice? Or for example, if you're a young family, you might also just decide, hey, tonight we're going to do a platter night. We're just going to get a whole load of things out, put them on the table, some olives, some nuts, fresh bread, maybe a couple of cuts of meat, something like that. With a salad, that could be a really tasty meal. No cooking, minimal cleaning up. So starting to question why we eat the things we do, how much and when, is so liberating, because that's when we realize that food can reflect our needs and we don't need to fit into these cultural beliefs that really often tie us down with negative impacts on our health. So this is just a little thought to chew until next week. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon.